All right, so we're gonna do a handlebar swap on this Ibis Ripley LS stickers a la stickered.com. We're gonna be replacing these handlebars with another set of carbon handlebars because we can. Grips are coming off, we got clamps, we're gonna start with that. And they got, some of these have end caps, you might have to pull those end caps off. This is typically a 3mm Allen tool for our clamp, and that is incorrect. It's going to be a 2.5. So we got 2.5. Unscrew that just a few turns. You may have another one on the other side. Some of these have 2 clamps, some have 1. Boom. This is already loose. Actually, this is all one piece. Or if it is an end cap, it's fitting pretty darn loose. Let's see. It's tight. All right, off with the other one. So we're working with XT Shimano brakes. We got XTR shifter. They have their own clamps. We got 2 bolts right over here. I'm gonna grab my 3-way, trusty old 3-way. Gonna loosen these bolts up, so just a little bit loose. So the brake clamp, it actually opens up, but the shifter is gonna have to slide off the end of the bar, get those loose enough. So now with Shimano, they have run a little safety here. On the side here it says push to open. It looks like a little silver plate, but you're gonna push that. It's not gonna push in very much. So once you push that in, then you can come back over here, open your clamp, but that means you have to have your screw all the way loose, so let's do that. How about we just take this screw out all together. Boom. Now we can come back, push in our safety, because this doesn't open up enough, or we can just slide it off. Push, boom, free. Remember, brake clamp goes on just after the handlebar grip, and then our shifter. Now this guy doesn't have a safety, and it doesn't open up all the way, so we're going to be sliding it. If you find that you're running out of length here for your housing, just turn it. Since this is going over to the left, we're going to turn to the left, give us some more slack. That should just pull right off. And same thing with the other side. So the other side we have a brake lever and a dropper post. And who do we have visiting today? We have Mr. Mowgli. Come here, Mr. Ewok. Hey, come here, come say hi. Come say hi, boo-boo. All right, so for this brake, got this loose, got the dropper loose, and let's see, we got these 2 cables are connected. Somebody connected those. We have enough room. Great, these guys can stay together. These can hang there. Now our bar is completely free of clutter. And we can go back. And we got 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter where you start, which bolt you start with. When you're installing, you want to get them screwed in finger tight, then you want to go back and do a cross pattern of tightening. A little bit going around, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 passes, then going back with a torque wrench or even sooner. So we're going to loosen up all these take these bolts out completely. Put them on a table, put them in a bowl, put them somewhere where your screws won't fall off the table, get lost. So we are replacing with some NV carbon bars. That'd be the ones on the back side. So actually they're both NV. Lengthwise, looking at, these are 810 and they got lines here. So if you want to cut at 780, 790, 800, or I think they're at 810 overall. So yeah, probably lighter, better, stiffer, stronger, longer. So now would be a time too. So NV being the high quality that they are, right in the middle they got a nice patch of some, it's light abrasive, it's almost like a sandpaper or grit. Basically it's for grip. So if you didn't have it, let's see, yeah, even this old one had it too. But it's made for gription, so when you throw your stem plate back on here, you're going to get some good grip there, so you're able to adhere to whatever torque setting that they require, so you don't want to go over that. If you get to the torque setting and you still find that these bars are slipping, then we can use a fiber grip compound, or almost like a paste. It's like a toothpaste that has a very light grit in it, so you're good to have a tube of that in your shop or garage or your toolbox. So if this doesn't have it and you're still getting slippage, go ahead and apply a little bit of that. It works for carbon, it works for aluminum. You can experiment with other stuff too, so that's good. And you got some information here. You got diameter. So right in the middle, it's 31.8 pretty common for today's bikes. The rise, it's where it goes up. We got about, rise is 28 millimeters. So from flat, then it jumps up. And then we got sweep. So sweep is, the bars are actually coming back towards me. If we're in this position, they're sweeping back towards me, and that's about 7 degrees. And then the tip, that's a new one on me. So just the tip, we're probably talking about the ends, maybe the tips here that are shooting up, maybe 5 degrees. That'd be my guess right there. Maximum torque, pretty rare that you see this on the component that's going to get clamped. This is 5.5 Newton meters. So that means that our stem should not exceed 5.5 Newton meters. If it does, which I'm looking at it, it's an IBIS stem, it says 6.7 Newton meters. And this says max torque 5.5. So I'm probably going to go with 5.5 and then test it, see if I can twist it, get somebody with some real strong hands and forearms, see if we can do a little twist. And if it slips, I'd rather have it slip here at home in the stand rather than out there on your ride. So if it does slip, throw a little fiber grip in there, some compound, try it again. And then if it still slips, then, well, I don't know what to do after that. All right, ready for install. So right now here we're looking at the stem. Give it a little wipe if we got a little dust. If we got a little grease coming in on the inside, we do not want any grease on the inside where the bar is going to make contact. Wipe that clean, get all that greasy film out of there. Same with your face plate over here. Make sure that's all nice and clean as well, grease free. And then we're going to go ahead, basically just hold that in place. Doesn't have to be perfect, just make sure it's right side up, it's not backwards, and we're not upside down. And I like to put one bolt, and if you need to, you can go ahead and put some grease on the threads of your bolts, just a light coating of grease. You can put thread locker if you want. You can do either or. I tend to put grease. Haven't had an issue with that. So I got one bolt started. Try and hold that steady, and then just get that bolt threaded. Get it finger started, and then just go ahead and do the rest of them. It doesn't matter your combination right now or where you stick it. Just when you're ready to do final tightening, then we're going to do a sequence. If it wants to slide, that's okay. All right, so when these bolts start getting tight, you want to have your bar more or less centered, get it in the middle, more or less set up. We can always go back later to do final tightening, final adjustment. We put the bike down on the ground, we can throw a leg over it, we can look straight down, line it up, make sure it's centered, and then we can do our final tightening as well. But when we want to get these bolts snug, we're just going to do that sequence where we're tightening, pick a corner, whether you pick the top left, get that snug, go down to the far opposite right side, get that real gently snug, just fingertips, and then just jump to the other side again, which is be down on the lower, below the left, and then up on the right top. And that's snug enough. Right now I can't turn it, and that's good enough for now. We can go back, do other stuff later. This way it's not going to be flopping around on us while we're trying to put our stuff on. All right, so we're ready to put everything back on. So we're putting shifter on. So again, we're running out of length here. Go ahead and turn left, get some more length out of your housing. Get that on there. And then this guy right here, we have that clamp. Go ahead and that's going to go. So we got shifter, lever, and then we have our grip. Get all that to the end here. If you don't have an end cap, then I like to set these up to where the grip is hanging just over the edge of the handlebar. So if you do fall down, which I'm sure you will, you fall over, we're going to hit the end of the grip rather than the end of the handlebar. So some of these are directional. We got a place where the palm goes, a place where the finger goes. I'm not sure where that is on this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and snug it up for now. We'll go back and take a look at it later once we get the bike down on the ground. So, and remember, not too tight on these either. I'm sure if there's a torque setting, check on your grip, check on the handlebar if there's a torque setting for the grips. So I'm just gonna get that bolt back in there for the brake lever. And again, I'm not too worried about direction or not orientation, but positioning for the brake lever. We're gonna do that on the ground again. It's gonna snug these bolts up a bit. All right, I'm just gonna leave that like that. We're gonna go ahead and bring this back down on the ground, make some final adjustments. So once we're down on the ground, nice and straight, throw a leg over that top tube, and then we can start to orientate everything. So orientate your grips if you need to, your brake lever, your shifter, or maybe they're connected. And then you could just tighten them up. All right, now heads up, careful when you're putting the bolt back in for the brake lever, because that bolt comes out completely and then it opens up. So I'm putting the bolt back in. So I screwed it in about halfway, started getting a lot of tension, and it wasn't nearly tight like the way it should be. So I think there was something wrong with the threads. So anytime you're turning stuff and it's getting a little tough and it's not doing what you think it's supposed to be doing, take that bolt out, clean it up if you got a thread chaser, something specific for that. Gonna drive that in, use a little bit of cutting oil to lubricate it, clean those threads up. It could just be dirt, it could be old Loctite that's causing a problem, but we just want to make sure we're not cross-threading and destroying threads in there. So I couldn't find my thread chasing tool, so I used the same screw, came in from the backside, did it finger tight, make sure it got started 1 to 2 revolutions, and then just drove it through the rest of the way. And it was a little tough, but not too bad. I think it was just filthy. Maybe some thread locker was in there. So cleaned it up, took it out, blew it out, and then went ahead and reinstalled it the regular way, and just tightening it very gently right now. These are probably anywhere from 4 to 6 Newton meters. You know, when in doubt, just tighten a little bit at a time. If you can get this to move, if you apply some pressure with your fingers and it moves on you, then go a little bit tighter. You may want to leave it slightly loose, not so loose that it's moving when you apply your lever, but if you do crash, at least it slides rather than breaking something. So some guys do that, but be very careful when you do that. All right, and don't forget to align your handlebars. Make sure they're centered. Use any markings you can, whether it's the pre-applied little grip tape they put here. Sometimes they gave you some lines, just making it even, just eyeballing it. You know, your eyeball is going to be different than somebody else's eyeball. So, and then the rise right here, generally we want that rise when it comes up, we want it pointing basically straight up rather than pointed back towards me or pointed forward. But again, that's personal preference, but just to get it in the ballpark, we're usually going straight up. And then of course that sweep, the sweep where the bars are bent slightly back, you want them coming back towards you. So if you're tilted too far back, the sweep is gonna go sweeping down. And if you're rotated too far this way, where your rise is over here rather than here, then your sweep is gonna be sweeping back here when it should be sweeping back this way. And then when you're through, you wanna make sure you have a gap here between the faceplate and your stem, equal gap top, equal gap on the bottom. If it's not equal, go ahead and loosen the appropriate top or bottom. Get that as even as possible. You just don't want the metal touching. So, and then this is says 4.5 Newton meters. Remember our bar said up to 5.5. So I'm gonna start with the lowest one first and then give it a little twist test as hard as you can. If it get it to twist, then maybe we'll go up a little bit higher. But other than that, you're good to go.